Hey everybody, it's Rory from A&S Gear, and we're upstairs at the table like we normally do. We're gonna try something a little different though. We're gonna start putting out videos from my bench downstairs where I normally do all of my work and servicing guns. We're gonna start a line of videos that is going to help you become a more confident, better paintball player when it comes to managing your own gear. How to fix your guns, common problems that I see with equipment, how to fix tanks, loaders, all those things that we always get questions about. Hopefully these videos can help you solve your own problems and not be relying on someone else to do for you. So I'm trying to help you out, make you a more confident, better paintball player. So watch the videos. We're gonna upload all sorts of content. Thanks for watching, ansgear.com. All right, so what we've got here right now is a VCOM T-Rex customer sent in with a leaking issue coming from kind of right around in this area from what I hear or from what the ticket says. We're going to gas it up and look for the leak, see if we can hear it, and then we will try to diagnose it. I have brought another VCOM with me. It's a real easy way to solve bolt problems. Coming from right here, pretty sure I know what this is already. So now we're going to unscrew this and we are going to switch bolts. So this is an easy way to diagnose a problem. If I pull this bolt out of here and I throw it into this gun, which I know is working, then I can test it. My tank is getting a little low on air, so I'm going to use this one. The first thing I want to do is make sure this gun works, that this gun isn't leaking. So we're going to power this one on real quick. Turn the eyes off. Oop, going the wrong way. No issues with that one. So degas it, pop this bolt out, take this bolt out of here, put it in here, gas it up, and it seals. So I can determine right away that the bolt is not causing the leak inside of this gun, which is great. That means I don't have to spend time trying to diagnose a leak issue in a bolt and changing O-rings out of there. I can start looking at other things. I can look at the solenoid, or I can look at the transfer gasket between the frame and the body. Shoots inside of this one, so that's good. That's a definite nice relief for me. So I'm gonna pull this one out. I'm gonna put it, actually I don't even really need to put it back in there. We'll just set it up here out of the way. We're gonna put this one back in here and just get this off my table, because I don't really need this anymore. I can move it away, which is good. So now what I'm going to do is put this one back in, and I know the leak is just pissing out of the side right here. So it most likely is the transfer O-ring between the frame and the body of the gun. And that is an easy one to misalign when you're trying to put it together. It is an easy one to get screwy. You can replace that O-ring just by separating the frame out, but I want to show you guys how that needs to come apart and solve this leak problem that you might see, because this one is pretty common. If you don't have your frame tight enough to your body, that O-ring can peek out and then it will start to leak. There's all sorts of potential reasons why that O-ring can go bad. It can be misaligned when you put it together. You can have the wrong size O-ring in there. All sorts of issues. So we're going to pull this out. We're going to disconnect our eye wire right there. And then we are going to disconnect our solenoid wire as well. And then we're going to separate the two pieces out. When you separate your frame out, the rear frame screw, you cannot undo. You can kind of break it free, but if you keep trying to turn this, it will just lock up and it won't come out. So you need to do the front frame screw first and pull this one up. This screw that you see right here, this is your LPR adjustment. So you don't want to undo this one to get your frame apart. The very front one,
undo it until it comes all the way up, and then the rear one, undo this one, and you can see, I'll show you actually, I'll put this back down. As I unscrew this, it's going to separate the frame out. It's just the way this one is, these guns are made. So when we go to put it back together, we're going to do it in reverse order. We're going to put the rear frame screw in first, and then this one in second. All right, so that clears that. We can pull this out. And lo and behold, our transfer O-ring, which should be here, is actually up inside of here. Now looking at it, I can see two severe dents right there and right there, which just means that this was probably pinched or the frames weren't tight enough and it popped out and then just caused a problem. So I have these O-rings right here, my VCOM T-Rex frame seal O-rings. We're going to take one of these out. Right there. We're going to take, where's our screws go? There it is down there. There are two frame screws. We'll use those in just a second. I'm going to take just a little bit of grease and I'm going to put it right on the top there. I'm going to put our O-ring in and then kind of just get some of that grease around there on that. Now I'm going to put it back together and hopefully this solves the whole problem. It would be great if I could gas this back up and we're not running into any more issues. One thing you do have to also worry about is when you do pull the frames off of these guns, the trigger return spring, you can see it kind of at a weird angle right back in there. If the trigger moves too far forward, which can happen once you pull the frame off, the spring will get stuck on the micro switch and it won't go back in. So you have to push the spring up and over the micro switch in order for it to go back properly. And then you can look down inside here and make sure that your spring is in the right pocket. It's in its appropriate home down inside there. But this is what happens when there's no frame above it to hold the trigger in place. The trigger can swing all the way up and then the trigger can get stuck on there. And if I just was to push this down, I might damage the micro switch or something like that. So I just want to be careful. I'm going to pick that spring up from there. And there you go. I set it in there. Now I'm going to try not to let that roll back forward again while I'm putting this together. So one frame screw goes in the front and you can see that this has a lot of travel inside there. This is what allows everything to go together. The rear one we're going to put in there and you can see this has no travel in it. That's why if you tried to undo this one first, when the frame is together, it doesn't have, the screw doesn't have anywhere to go. And so as the screw undoes itself, it's going to move the whole frame down and you'll actually destroy the frame or bend it or something while trying to put this gun back together. So what we want to do is to make sure that on the disassembly, we take this one first, this one second, and then on the reassembly, we do this one first and this one second. But first thing we got to do is get our cables through here. And again, because these two screws are not held in by anything at this point, if we tilt this forward, those screws are going to roll out the front. So we want to get everything in while keeping the frame at an angle where the screws won't fall out. So I'm going to hold it like this. I'm going to reach through here and I'm going to grab the wiring and get the wiring out and into the main body of the frame here. Get these wires out. Then I can bring this back together. I'm going to make sure before I seal this up that my transfer O-ring that I just installed hasn't gone anywhere. It hasn't moved. Make sure my wiring is completely out of the way. And then do my rear frame screw first. And you'll see that as I screw this in, the back of the frame closes down. Then I can come here to the front, do my front frame screw. And then tighten that. Tighten that. You can do a replug on all my wiring, my eye wire, my solenoid wire. And then tuck those down in there so that they don't get pinched by the grip. And then we're going to gas it up. We're going to see where we're at. Here we go. Look at that. No leaks. Eyes are working, that's good. Shut the eyes off. There we have it. So just a simple frame transfer O-ring. Very simple for it to come out of place when you're just moving your frame around, taking your frame off to clean it, anything like that. It's such a small little tiny O-ring that it's very easy to lose it, very easy to misplace it, very easy to crush it or squash it. And it really is a very important part of the gun. So that's that. We'll button the grips back up on it and get it right back out to the customer. See you in the next video.